What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Raw Feed. I am Gary Franchi, and you are at the show the mainstream media does not want you to see. And right now, we're about to dive into some stories they're desperately trying to bury. But before we get started, I want you to do something for me. Take out your phone right now and text this stream link to 5 people that you trust. Why? Because big tech is doing everything in its power to suppress what we are about to discuss. We're broadcasting live on YouTube to millions worldwide. We're also streaming on Rumble and X, so make sure you are following us on all of those platforms, because you never know when the censors might strike. Now let's talk about why you are here. Tonight's show is a powder keg of explosive revelations that will shake the foundations of what you thought you knew about American politics. We've got 5 earth-shattering stories that demand your immediate attention. The woman who wants to lead the free world has been caught in a plagiarism scandal that would make a college freshman blush. We're talking whole passages lifted straight from Wikipedia, folks. Is this the kind of smart-on crime we can expect from the Harris administration? But while the Democrats are drowning in scandals, President Trump is riding a wave of popularity. New polls show him supposedly deadlocked with Harris, but erasing her previous lead. We'll break down the numbers and show you why the American people are rallying behind Trump's vision for America. Now brace yourselves, because what's happening in Chicago will chill you to the bone. A vicious gang is running rampant, and the Democrat leadership seems more interested in protecting criminals than citizens. We've got the inside scoop on this migrant crime wave that the mainstream media won't touch. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, we've got the unraveling of an alleged assassin attempt on President Trump. But here's the kicker. The accused is a Trump supporter himself. Was this a setup? We're going to connect the dots that the others are too afraid to even look at. And throughout the show, we'll be interacting with you, our viewers, in the live chat. Your reactions, your insights, they're not just welcome, they are essential. And send us your Rumble rants. That's one way you can support this program. And your message will be featured and read on the screen. Hit that subscribe button, and let's show the world that the truth cannot be silenced. But here's the thing, folks. We cannot do this alone. We need your support to keep this show on the air, to keep digging for the truth. You will find a donation link in the description. Give, Send, Go, PayPal. Every dollar helps fight against the corrupt establishment that wants to keep you and America in the dark. So are you ready? Are you? Because right now, we're not just reporting the news, we are changing it. So stay with us throughout this program. And remember, always stay vigilant, because the truth is out there, and together, you and me, we're going to find it. Now let's welcome you to the show. Who's in the chat room today? Let's get in with it. Sound off where you are watching from, your city, your state, your device. And I want to welcome you personally to the show. We've got Keith in the house. We've got Robert. We've got No BS. We've got Guanji. We've got Buck. We've got R. Boyd in the house. We've got Keith and Andrea. We've got Sure You in the house. Jeanette is here. Good to see you. We got Johnny in Idaho. We got Sabrina in Houston. Locked and Loaded in Washington. 138 Gun Bunny in Illinois. Veterans for Trump. What's up? What else we got in the house? We've got R. Boyd sending love from South Carolina. Eugene from the UK. Always love my international viewers. Everyone from the UK to New Zealand to Australia to Canada, Philippines, Europe. I love seeing all you guys in the comments. It also shows just how broad this message is and how important it is too, because people from all over the world, they tune in because they want to know what's really happening in America, because the corporate media, the mainstream media, only gives you the approved narratives. And that's why you have to go beyond the borders to get other perspectives to find out what's going on. And you guys are here to get the real truth, and I really appreciate that. So make sure you wherever you are, if you're in the UK, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or Canada, wherever you may be, make sure you tell all your friends that they can get the real news, the real truth right here at the Next News Network. We got Carrie in Michigan. We got Lord Rodius in Ohio. We got Yes No in Madison, Alabama. Picked a Woman in Tennessee. Oh, yes, I love Tennessee. Big Orange in St. Charles, Illinois. Uh-oh. I wonder if I know you. Maybe I do. Big Orange. St. Charles. That's my favorite town. Maria is thanking me. Thank you, Maria. We got Bobby Bubsby in Alabama. We got Kissimmee, Florida. Scott Edwards is here. We've got Alaska. No BS. He says, come on, let's go. Let's go. He's anxious. He wants to find out what we got in store. Well, buckle up, folks. Buckle up. We got Aaron in St. Louis. We got 22, Mikey 22 in Clearwater. St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. Arizona, Joel is here, and Ed is in Tennessee. Colorado Springs in the house. Solar Flare Ragoon. DH is in New Mexico. Kokomo, Indiana. Laura's here. We got Liz Rod just saying freak. Okay, cool. Debbie's on her smartphone in Arizona. We got Terry here in Nevada. Kat in Kissimmee, Tulsa, Wisconsin. Dwayne in Illinois. And Sure You, he's on his smartphone, Android in Virginia. Okay, guys, we got to get into this stuff because this is pretty serious. Let's go. In a twist that would make Hollywood scriptwriters blush, the latest so-called assassination attempt on President Trump has unraveled faster than a cheap sweater. The accused, a diehard Trump supporter, and a conservative media figure. The evidence? Flimsier than a house of cards in a hurricane. So tonight we're going to pull back the curtain on what might be the most bungled false operation in political history. Was this a desperate attempt to smear Trump supporters or something even more sinister? So buckle up, folks. This ride is about to get very bumpy. Now, folks, in times like these, when the truth seems to be constantly under attack, it's crucial to take care of yourself. That's why I want to talk to you about something that can help you look and feel your best. Collagen. Did you know that after the age of 20, your body produces about 12% less collagen each decade? That's why so many of us struggle with wrinkles and sagging skin. But here is the good news. This magic secret powder combines top 5 critically important types of collagen for skin health. It's formulated to reduce visible signs of aging and promote a youthful glow. Do yourself a favor and get it today at healthwithgary.com. You'll get 51% off, plus free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life. Don't wait. Start turning back the clock now. Okay, so his name is Vem Miller, and this is his statement that he has released after the events unfolded. And we're going to get to his official statement. First, we got to present you with the timeline. Of course, they came out. The Riverside County Sheriff declared that a third assassination attempt was thwarted in Coachella, Riverside County. But was it? Why would he come out and make these statements? And then, of course, there was the quote that was circulating all over X. I want to kill the president. And the quote was attributed to Vem Miller. The news began to spread wildly. In fact, I actually posted about it. And I started to dig into his social media accounts. And then I started to notice something very strange. He was arrested a half mile from the event, carrying a loaded shotgun and a handgun, and supposed fake rally passes. So I did a quick search for his name, and I found all kinds of information. I found all of his social media right away, so the information was not getting scrubbed off of the internet. It wasn't happening. Usually when these things happen, they scrub every single piece of information, but that didn't happen here. We had his name, we had his socials. And what I found interesting is his Instagram account. I'm like, this is the America Happens Network. Partner, co-founder of America Happens Network. I'm like, that sounds so familiar. Why do I know that name? And then I'm like, wait a second. He ran for Nevada State Assembly as a Republican. I'm like, none of this makes sense. Now, at the time, I wasn't sure if it was the same person. I'm like, this could be totally unknown. This could be like just a, like maybe there is someone with the same name that did something. But the fact that you have this like straight up Trump supporter going to a Trump event, or somebody going to a Trump event named that with that name, and then you have this person, like it all just seems to line up perfectly. So I went and I looked and I saw on the Instagram account that somebody named I Heart Mindy follows Vem Miller. And I know Mindy. I mean, I know her well. She's a friend. She's awesome. And so I reached out to Mindy, and she confirmed that Vem is her business partner and also a pro-Trump supporter. And she said he recently uncovered a deep state plot involving the feds selling land that they don't own. I asked when the situation, if it was a setup, and Mindy made it clear she believes that it was. And according to her, Vem's recent work may have put him in the crosshairs of those looking to silence him. So, of course, this changes the narrative. Could he be a target of what he uncovered? So, of course, in response to the rumors that Vem was trying to assassinate Trump, another user denied those claims, confirming that Vem's a passionate MAGA supporter who never hurt Trump. W. Whitney 78 pointed out the official police report doesn't even mention any threat to Trump. So why would these quotes be attributed to him? Why would these headlines be out there? Like why would if anything, that's straight up misinformation. They noted that he's a Second Amendment advocate from Nevada, made poor judgment by bringing his firearms into California, and he suggested Vem has since been released and now feels foolish. And of course, he has made the statement. National File making this point: there was no assassination attempt, a source close to Trump's campaign. A man at a perimeter checkpoint had a gun, but there was no incident. Law enforcement told the Post this, according to National File, replying to us that the FBI does not believe this was an assassination attempt and the former president's life was never in danger. Other people, of course, expressing disbelief. How could this have happened? Can't wrap my mind around it. Mindy Robinson, I was like, Mindy, I don't know where this guy is, but you got to put out a statement. I'm texting her, I'm calling her, make a statement official. And of course she did. She said here, the man they arrested for supposedly trying to kill Trump is her friend. He exposed a deep state cover-up involving the feds and Bundy Ranch scandal. Wow. This connects to the Bundy Ranch. She says she believes this is 100% some kind of setup and retribution for exposing it. That our Trump security team is a bunch of dipshits trying to make up for how badly they failed in Pennsylvania with any kind of win they can get, fake or not, which could make sense. There isn't a universe his intention was to kill Trump. He's worked too hard in this movement to expose the deep state and all the people against him. If he had guns in his car that were illegal, whoop-de-effing-do. She says, as a pro 2A advocate, asked me if she cares about a good guy with a gun in an unsafe place like California. And she goes on to say she wants to see what this threat was. But I think what's interesting, as Mindy points out here, that what his testimony, his video testimony, which I think is the strongest, obviously, is his personal account. He states that he's out here clearing his name after the false accusation. The lies from the police in Palm Desert and Riverside County are exposed. Body cams and evidence will prove his innocence. So I did post this video on the full message on X as well. You can go and see that, but I did create a shorter version. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you, but we'll listen to some of it.
All right, guys, so this is Van Miller of the America Happens Network. I'm releasing this statement because of the false information that is currently being released by the police department, I believe, of Palm Desert, Indio, Coachella, and the Riverside County. And I will state that what I'm about to tell you is 100% true and accurate. The body cams and the surveillance footage in the police station, as well as all the evidence at hand, will reflect that indeed what I'm saying is 100% true and accurate. I'm choosing to do it this way because, frankly, I've gotten, I don't know, 100 calls in the last 2 hours, hour and a half since these false and defamatory statements have been released by the police authorities in this region. And, let me start off by saying this. So my name is Van Miller. I am one of the partners at the America Happens Network, which is americahappens.com. I always knew we were going to go viral in a very big way, and some of our stories and exposés have been going viral, but I never thought that the most explosive story would involve myself and the false statements that are currently circulating across the internet. I'm currently in a cheap motel room, and I'll explain why I'm in a cheap motel room in a second. So I run the America Happens Network with my partners, and as a part of that, we've been integrally involved in our passion, which is protection of our constitutional rights, including freedom of press, freedom of speech, Second Amendment. And while the Constitution in its entirety is near and dear to our heart, that is our primary agenda. While we are currently, and we have been for close to 8 years, staunch supporters of President Donald Trump, we don't align ourselves with any political party except for one that supports our freedoms, our constitutional rights, our medical freedoms, and gets rid of the tyranny of corrupt politicians that is plaguing our nation. So to be very clear, that is our number one agenda. In that, the President Donald Trump has been near and dear to our hearts because he's one of the only individuals that I've seen have the courage to actually stand up to this tyranny against we the people. In 2022, I ran for office in Nevada as a Republican. Since 2000, I've been involved in the Republican Party in Nevada. I'm a Trump caucus captain. I've collected votes for Donald Trump, and I'm also a Trump team leader. It is with that I decided to come to Coachella after receiving a special invitation from members of the Nevada Republican Party. I was scheduled to drive from Los Angeles to Coachella, where I arrived at 3 p.m. on October 12th, 2024. At 3 p.m., once I arrived to Coachella, I was told to go towards a special entrance where there's parking. Prior to entering the parking lot area, I did what I always do, which is that, and there's much evidence of this, if you ask around Nevada police officers, well, I will fully transparently let them know that in the trunk of my car, I carry 2 firearms. One is a Glock, one is a shotgun. And these 2 firearms that I carry with me are simply for protection. And purely for protection, I purchased both these guns. And so prior to October 12th, every time I would go to a Trump rally, and most of these were in Nevada or states that are certainly not California, I would tell the police officers out of courtesy that, hey, you know, my name is Van Miller. I work closely with the Trump campaign and individuals within the Trump campaign. I'm just letting you know that in the trunk of my car, I have 2 firearms. I'm certainly not going to take these firearms into the actual rally location. And by the way, there's metal detectors and stuff like that. So it's not like that is even possible. But I would clearly tell him that I got in the back of the truck. And the reason I would tell him this is because God forbid somebody broke into my truck or something. I want him to be aware of what was in there. And it was simply a common courtesy of the police. They've thanked me for the courtesy of notifying them. They've said, obviously, you can't take your firearms. I wouldn't even think of doing such a stupid thing. And they've been fine. They've been fine. And the critical mistake I made is, I guess, forgetting the location that I was in California. So I drive up with my special entry pass. And by the way, they're saying I had a counterfeit pass. That's a bunch of nonsense. I could prove that I had a special entry pass directed to me, sent directly to me by officials within the Republican Party of Nevada. I was an actual invitee to that event. So as I'm driving, there's an area where you enter the parking lot after you pass a sheriff. I pull up to the sheriff and I tell him that, you know, in full transparency, I just want to let you know in the back of my truck, I got, 2 lawful firearms, purchased lawfully, registered lawfully. And I'm just letting you know that that's back there as a courtesy, which is a courtesy that I always do. That police officer asks me to pull over. So I pull over. A police officer comes to my window. I roll the window down and he asked me to get out of my car. I got out of my car. He asked me to turn around, put my hands behind my back, which is what I did. He handcuffed me at that juncture. I said, why are you handcuffing me? He said he's doing it for his own protection. I'm not there for anything nefarious, but nonetheless, this police officer felt threatened when he's the one with the firearm right then and there. At this point, they put me in the back of a police car, which is scorching hot. And frankly, I'm feeling faint at this point and I'm having difficulty speaking. I've been driving for hours. And frankly, I had to go to the bathroom very badly to a point where it was giving me a headache and my blood sugar being off, me being in the back of that truck or police car in the scorching heat, which was akin to a sauna, was really causing me health problems, causing me heart palpitations, causing me breathing issues. And they just stuck me back there, closed the door in this sauna-like police car. And it came to a point where I had to start like knocking on, well, I should say knocking. I was hitting the door with my feet because my hands were handcuffed behind my back. And I'm just like trying to make noise so that I could get their attention because I've been inside there for an hour. And if you could imagine with your blood sugar all over the place, heart palpitating, being in a sauna-like environment is not the healthiest situation to be in. I actually felt like I might faint and be hospitalized. And finally, the police officers come there. I pretty much begged them to get my water, which has 2 supplements in there that could have helped my health. They refused to because they're like, what if there's something in there? And so they refused me what I needed, which was my medication. They kept me in the car. They did turn on the AC after what was hour, I don't even know. And it's hard for me to know the exact time. It could have been an hour, it could have been an hour and a half of this torturous experience. I don't know, because frankly, I was too lightheaded and I was almost fainting. When I explained to them what was going on, they said, we could take you to the hospital. I'm like, rather than take me to the hospital, what if you just get me my water? And they refused to do so. And they gave me, one of the police officers put water in front of my mouth and poured it in there and stuff. Eventually, they did give me my water bottle, but that was hours later. So, at this juncture, I'm in the back of the truck and I'm demanding from this arresting police officer that I get my one phone call, which he refuses. He also refuses to tell me what's going on. This police officer came up to me and he basically said that, look, we just want to make sure your law firms are properly registered, that they're lawfully purchased. Well, next thing these guys do is that they completely ransack everything in my car. And when I say ransack, I had 3 suitcases in there, including clothes, including crucial medication and supplements, including my laptop computer, an iPad, camera equipment, tripods, recording equipment, basically all the equipment I would need in order to produce content. And to be very clear, I wasn't there under media. I was there as a special guest, and I wasn't taking any of that equipment in there because I was not there as media. So they ransacked the crap out of my car, and lo and behold, they find absolutely nothing. I think it was clear that this was an attempt to find incriminating information or evidence upon myself, because carrying a firearm is protected by our Constitution, and say they found other, something nefarious in there, that would clearly be a way to justify what they were doing. But there was no justification. During this time, I hear this arresting officer call me a maggot and one of those dumb Trump people to a female officer. And he didn't know that I had overheard what he said. And at this point, it becomes very clear that this arresting officer's goal was to make an example of a Trump supporter, was to persecute a Trump supporter having nothing to do with the law. That was very clear by his behavior, by how he spoke with me. And so they tear my car apart, and clearly they find nothing. Then this arresting police officer comes back and says that they're going to throw me in jail and that they're going to impound my car. Tow truck comes eventually, takes my car with all my equipment, my clothes, my medication. They impound it. Okay. Now, this arresting officer comes up to me and says, the Secret Service and the FBI want to speak with you. Okay. And this is when his narrative started, I guess, falling apart, because he told me that, there's a serious situation. There's been assassination attempts on Trump, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to investigate this. They're going to interrogate you, blah, 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 right? And so now we're about 3.5 hours into this ordeal, I would approximate. And this arresting officer drives me to an RV where the feds and the Secret Service are stationed. Now, what occurs to me is that the fulcrum in all this event is this one arresting officer. He's the one passing information to the feds, to the Secret Service, and he's the one coming back to me and relaying this information, although it was very clear that he was skewing this information. He walks out of the car, he has a conversation with individuals that are Secret Service and feds. And he's in this conversation, which I'm watching through this kind of grid that they have in the back of the trucks, that kind of prison grid looking thing, I could tell from the reaction of the Secret Service and feds that they're just not kind of buying his story.
Hey guys.
So they're not buying the story, the Secret Service, and he points out, this is the fulcrum. It's the arresting officer who's got a grudge against MAGA, against Trump, and was clearly just persecuting this guy for some kind of brownie points. And clearly, the arresting officer and the sheriff took it to the next level to grandstand on this moment as if they were heroes, that they thwarted an attempt. I mean, if you ask me, that's really what this comes down to, is that they were looking for some glory. They were looking for some press time, and they were going to use this man and Donald Trump. They were going to exploit this man and Donald Trump and the fear that Americans have for another attack on Trump for their own gain. That's how I see it. Still roaming points out, Ben Miller made the statement online. If Riverside Sheriff Department had real evidence, the story wouldn't have taken a full 24 hours to break to the public. Think about that. 24 hours? And then we find out? It sounds like they're getting their ducks in a row.
To the rally. Bianco, I'm the sheriff of Riverside County, and we are obviously here to talk about an incident that occurred yesterday at the rally that former President Trump had in Coachella. Yesterday afternoon, before former President Trump arrived to the rally, we made contact with an individual on the inner perimeter of our operation at the rally. As you can imagine, this was a very large event. In regard to previous attempts on the former president's life, this was not something that we were taking lightly. We had a very detailed plan in place on how we were going to keep not only the former president safe, but all of the participants or the attendees of the rally safe. In general,
but they put Vem's life in danger with his blood sugar, denying him his supplements that he needed to stabilize in a vehicle that was in it for an hour, making him sweat. This is absolutely unacceptable.
I will tell you that we had a larger outside perimeter and then an inside perimeter that was completely controlled by us, by Riverside County Sheriff's deputies, and both of them served different purposes. Only people that were allowed inside the perimeter, the outside perimeter, in a vehicle was if...
Okay, I've had enough of that guy. So, of course, he's released a statement. It's now out. The full statement's on our channel. Of course, the sheriff said he doesn't remember saying they probably thwarted a third assassination attempt, but later he says he probably did.
God, and I honestly, I will be honest with you, I don't remember saying that, but it certainly would be something I did say because
smiling.
It's something that in the last 12 hours we've talked about extensively of what happened. Thank God. And by an act of really what we did in the week leading up to keeping that place secure, I certainly wouldn't want to be saying after the fact that I wish we would have done something to prevent that shooting. And there is absolutely no way that any of us are going to truly know what was in his head. I can tell you that none of the other probably 50,000 people that showed up yesterday for that event brought multiple passports with different names and guns. And if there is any further statement about whether or not he belonged there, the statement of him saying that he was given credentials to be there by someone else, that's not up to me to decide. I mean,
so I get it. Okay, sure. Heightened sense of security. You don't want to look back and say, I wish I did something. But after it becomes clear, and after even the Secret Service says this guy's not a threat, let him go. Okay? Maybe If you're that concerned, maybe take his firearms and let him get them after the show. I mean, this whole thing stinks.
An unregistered vehicle with fake license plate and loaded firearms. If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt. If we are that politically lost, that we have lost sight of common sense and reality and reason, that we can't say that, holy crap, what did he show up with all of that stuff for and loaded guns, and I'm going to be accused of being dramatic. We have a serious, serious problem in this country.
Now, if you're not familiar with the sovereign citizen movement, there's people that have, either removed themselves from the authority of the federal government. They have declared their own individual sovereignty. They've taken the appropriate steps to do so that they can, of course, driving, the driver's license, all these things are like commercial acts, and they all have different commercial functions. So a lot of times these regulations and laws are all designed to regulate commercial behavior. But, the Constitution states we have a right to travel. Okay, to travel. And the sovereign citizen movement, they have a method for allowing constitutional travel in this country. I'm not familiar with all the points of it, but in my opinion, it all lines up with the sovereignty that we have as individuals by God, and granted, by God and enshrined in the Constitution. And the sovereign citizen movement versus, the federal government and law enforcement, there's a long history of back and forth and clashing. So it's not outside the realm of reason to consider that these officers also understood what the sovereign citizen movement was. They saw the license plate. They probably wanted to target him just based on that alone, but it also raised red flags. And then when he disclosed, he disclosed. Does an assassin just disclose that he has weapons? Okay. No. Does an assassin go through a checkpoint? No. Okay. I mean, I guess crooks did, and they found that rangefinder. But my point is that they exploited this man for their own personal gain, so they can make a press conference like that and state that did they thwart it? Yeah, we did. Raheem Kassam said, here's the notice that they gave Ben Miller. He's redacted details. They do not cite him for any fake documentation, passports, or license plates, but yet they go on and call him fake in a press conference. He signed under duress, and Raheem points out that he knows them personally. I believe this is a policing error. Here's the citation. And someone brings up, is this a publicity stunt? I think not. But he is out on bail. I'm not sure what this person is trying to say here, but here's some pictures of him. Here he is, hanging out with prominent members of Trump's inner circle. So we're just going to put this to bed right now. This man was not there to so-called kill the president. And I believe that this was an attempt for the press to grandstand. I mean, not for the press, for the sheriffs to grandstand, but the arresting officer clearly had an axe to grind with the MAGA movement. So that amplified everything and then put everything in motion. And there's no reason that Vem should have been treated in that manner. So, I mean, here he is. This is him at the RNC, walking around.
I don't know. See, that's a Republican National Convention behind me. Wonderful people, wonderful time. Just not happy that it's all cashless.
I certainly get that point. Look at that. There he is with Don Jr. right there. Jordan Peterson. Who else? There's Vivek. I mean, this guy is seriously an advocate for the MAGA movement. That officer clearly wasn't. And this is another opportunity for these sheriffs to come out and say this. They stopped something that never would have happened to begin with.
Documentation.
I am one of the partners at the America House.
So, as we've now seen, the truth behind this alleged assassination attempt is far more complex and potentially far more sinister than we were initially led to believe. So it raises serious questions about who's really pulling the strings in the political theater. So here's what I want to know from you. Who do you think benefits most from this kind of operation? The Democrats, the deep state, or is there another player that we're not seeing? Share your thoughts, your theories in the comments. Together, we can unravel who's really behind this web of deceit. Okay, let's get on with our chat and see what everyone's saying here. What do you guys think? Dem Scummer Desperate. Not sure Alex Jones today. What's Alex doing? Sheriff bowed down to the BLM. The plot is thickening. Add another dash of flour to the batter. I want to say don't go to a Trump rally with guns. That's what I get out of it. Sure. Sounds like he just forgot he even had them. They impounded his car and everything. Judith says, I can see why somebody would want to be a sovereign citizen because this country's doomed if Kamala is elected. Let's see. Democrats benefit quite a bit. Cause confusion with other reports coming out. Walls benefits because it takes away focus. I thought that was interesting too. Yeah, you guys get it. Oh, he was on Alex today? Wonderful. Good. Okay, let's get on with our third topic here. Got a lot to unpack. A lot to unpack today. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the Windy City has become the lawless city. Chicago's under siege, not from any invading army, but from within. The Tren de Aragua gang, a vicious criminal organization, has infiltrated the streets, leaving a trail of violence that would make Al Capone blush. We're talking murder, assault, robbery, you name it. And they're doing it. And where's Mayor Johnson? Where's Kamala Harris? Twiddling their thumbs while Rome burns? Well, right now we'll be shining a spotlight on the migrant crime wave that's threatening to engulf us all. And thankfully, Donald Trump is about to enact Operation Aurora, which would get these folks off the streets. Now, folks, in these dangerous times, you need to be prepared for anything. That's why I never hit the road without my Car Vision X dash cam. This is not any old camera. It's your personal guardian on the road. 4K Ultra HD night vision, 24/7 motion detection that captures every detail, keeping you safe and secure. Whether it's protecting you from false accusations and traffic incidents or providing crucial evidence in emergencies, Car Vision X has got your back. And here's the kicker. You can order now, carvisionx.com. You'll get free shipping. Don't wait until it's too late. Equip your car with Car Vision X today and drive with confidence. You'll find the link in the description. So I got a message from Terry Newsom. This was last night. And he said, Gary, I just got this FOIA request from the Chicago Police Department. You got to break this news. And I said, let's go. Let's figure this out. Let's talk about it. And what he discovers that hundreds of Tren de Aragua related crimes have now been revealed through FOIA documents that were obtained by Terry Newsom. From license violations to first-degree murder, the gang's footprint is everywhere across Chicago. And this is the actual FOIA request. Now, according to Newsom, Documents show cases piling up since 2021, ranging from identity theft and aggravated assault to murder. The gang is not just about small-time crime, it's deeply entrenched criminal network. And you could see, look at all this: license violation, first-degree murder. It goes on. First-degree murder highlighted multiple times in the reports, along with violations ranging from license issues to assaulting law enforcement. It's a criminal organization, shows zero respect for law and order as well as Chicagoans. 3 first-degree murders initially disclosed here, being brought to light by these FOIA requests. The question is, what else is being hidden from us? And where are the Chicago officials? This has been going on. The list of offenses include, look at this list: aggravated assaults on children, orders of protection violations, strong-arm robberies. It's not just a gang, it's an organized terror operation operating in our communities, all thanks to Kamala Harris. Despite Mayor Brandon Johnson and CPD's awareness, the revelations from the FOIA documents paint a very bleak picture of how deeply this group has infiltrated Chicago. And have you heard about this on the news? No, you haven't. This is what's actually happening. This is just local law enforcement's been battling the crime wave, but silence from public officials is deafening. How much longer are the people of Chicago going to be victim? And this is in Chicago. We know this is happening in all the other major cities. No one ever talks about Chicago. You never hear about it. You hear about maybe New York and Ohio or Aurora, Colorado. This is right here in Chicago. This is what Terry brought to light. So the crime wave is spreading. If it can spread throughout Chicago, no community is safe, and CPD data gives us a clear message that we need to pay attention. Will they take action? Will the officials take action? Or are they going to let the gangs battle it out? Because the gangs in Chicago, the gangs, the domestic gangs in Chicago, they're going to go to war with this group. And the streets, if you think they're bad now, they're going to get worse. Terry Newsom brought this to my attention. He posted this to his X account, contacted me. I said, dude, you just got to put it on X, get it out there. And of course, this is bizarre what Bill Clinton was caught on camera saying today. It lines up perfectly. And of course, the open border problem is why we're seeing what's happening in Chicago. But here's what Bill Clinton, he admitted on video that Laken Riley would not have died if the Kamala Biden regime actually vetted the millions of illegals pouring into the country. And of course, the Laken Riley story is just one story.
Young woman who'd been killed. You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen, and America is not having enough babies to keep our populations up. Okay. So we need immigrants that have been vetted to do work. There wouldn't be a problem. And he couldn't keep people all torn up and upset. You had a case in Georgia.
Think about what he said right there. First of all, he calls out the Kamala Harris regime for not vetting people coming across the border. And then he goes in and says, we need to have vetted immigrants because we're having a population decline or something along those lines. Perhaps, maybe, stop aborting the children. Maybe you could have more people in this country. And we've also got J.D. Vance humiliating Martha Raddatz. But before I do that, this is Mayorkas on Face the Nation. And he's talking about these individuals coming across the border. Now, the crime wave is happening. And of course, we have brought to everyone's attention that they're trying to register these people to vote. But Mayorkas comes out and says this.
For the notion that we in law enforcement have sought to intentionally allow individuals to cross the border illegally for the purpose of voting is preposterous, and everyone should condemn that rhetoric. No,
we're not going to condemn that rhetoric. We're going to actually point out the truth, because we've been covering it here. The fact of the matter is that they are registering these people to vote. The NGOs are doing it. They're doing it at the administrative level when they sign up for driver's licenses. It's happening all over the country. Like, he's going to come out and actually admit that? Of course not. Here is J.D. Vance.
Apartment complex, the incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting, because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said, rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
The incidents were...
I love the fact that he called her out. Like downplaying the fact, just a handful of apartment complexes. Like no big deal. But let's do a little flashback. Mayorkas says, we need to condemn this rhetoric. Well, what does Tucker Carlson have to say?
Voting rights. 20 of the numbers you need to understand. Yale University released a study last week by 3 researchers, all of them liberal, I believe, who concluded that the actual number of illegal aliens in this country is not 11 million, it's north of 22 million. 22 million. Fact 1. Fact 2. The Democratic Party is now, as a matter of policy, calling for the legalization of all illegals in this country. Citizenship voting rights. 22 million new voters. Fact 3. The overwhelming majority of first-time immigrant voters vote Democrat. Fact 4. The largest margin in American presidential history was 17 million votes, 1984 election between Mondale and Reagan.
And Reagan, yeah.
17 million. You would add to our voter rolls 22 million, at least, permanent electoral majority in perpetuity. That's what this is about. It's not about making the country better, serving our labor needs, helping the population. It's about putting Democrats in power forever. That is the truth of our immigration debate, period. The numbers you need to understand.
So Tucker just blew Bill Clinton's excuse for having vetted immigrants, blew it out of the water. And he blew Mayorkas's recent remarks about this rhetoric, blew it out of the water with straight facts. Oh, here's Tucker again.
Lie. Electronic voting machines are secure, which they are not. By the way, that's a lie. In any country that has electronic voting machines is by definition at risk of having its elections stolen. By definition. No country that cared about democracy would have electronic voting machines. Electronic voting machines are secure.
So we've got this crime wave that's happening in this country. And it's specifically because Kamala Harris has these open borders. The crimes here are unspeakable. Murder after murder after murder happening in the streets of Chicago. You have Venezuelan gangs taking over just a handful of apartment complexes. Thankfully, Donald Trump has made his pledge to kickstart Operation Aurora to get these people out of the country. Well, at the same time, you got Mayorkas condemning the rhetoric about voting, and you got Bill Clinton saying we need to have more people because they're not going to take the jobs. But in the same breath saying that if they vetted them, they wouldn't have the violence. Do you see what's happening here? So the situation in Chicago is just a stark warning of what happens when we prioritize political correctness over public safety. The Tren de Aragua gang's reign of terror is just the beginning if we don't take action now. Thankfully, President Trump has promised to once he gets into office. So here's my question to you. What do you think it will take to restore law and order to our cities? Is Operation Aurora enough? Tougher immigration policies like shutting down the border until we get a handle of this thing? A change in leadership to Donald Trump? Of course. Or something more. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Believe me, I read them. Because your ideas could be the key to saving our streets. All right, let's get to. You guys are looking to contact me on X, Free Bird Flies. Yeah, I don't know what you just my DMs are open, so you can message me. Okay, pardon me. It's a race war, someone said. Dems wait till the poop hits the fan. ICE will handle them nicely. For $125 USB, anyone can hack a voting machine, they say. We saw it. We've seen it. Okay. Let's see. Any more comments here? No yawning, says Wilson. Sorry about that. Sorry. Hey. Whoa. Sorry. I got to get up and do some jumping jacks or something, right? I'm sitting here for 2 hours and 16 minutes, and I still got 2 more topics to hit. Let's do this one. This one's fun. Okay. All right, Brian. You ready? Hold on to your hats, folks, because the political landscape is shifting faster than sand in a desert storm. President Trump, the man the mainstream media loves to hate, is surging in the polls, and we're seeing a shift that's got the Democrats shaking in their overpriced loafers. The gender gap, well, it's favoring Trump. The enthusiasm, well, it's all Trump. And right now, we're going to break down the numbers that have the liberal elite racing for their smelling salts. The red wave isn't coming. It's already here. Now, speaking of gold standards, let's talk about something that's been a reliable store of value for thousands of years. I'm talking precious metals. Folks, our country's national debt has skyrocketed past $35 trillion. While the government prints money like it's going out of style, smart patriots are turning to gold and silver. If you've got funds sitting in a low-interest bank account or 401k, it is time to act. Call my friends at Global Gold Investments. That's the number right there, 888-700-4148. Make sure you mention Next News, and you'll receive their 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide absolutely free. Don't wait, because if you don't have gold, you don't have real wealth. So CNN, they know that President Trump is going to win, and they are freaking out. As you know, he has already announced October 27th, tickets are available for President Trump going to Madison Square Garden. That's got him really freaked out, right in the backyard of the elite.
Hillary Clinton
But here is CNN.
Harris actually hold on, given that Joe Biden barely did, and Hillary Clinton did not across these 3 states, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, because obviously Donald Trump tends to overperform on Election Day compared to the polls. How is the race to 270 electoral votes? Because obviously this is not a popular vote race. It is an electoral vote race. Race to 270. How's that look?
And of course, Turd Tapper has to point that out. This is not a popular vote. This is about electoral votes, because they keep wanting to demonize the Electoral College.
Yeah, all right. So let's say the final result matches the polls exactly right. And note, taking into account our last discussion, I had Nevada here in yellow. But if we look at Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, if she carries all 3, that gets Kamala Harris to exactly 270 electoral votes. But that is well within the margin of error, way too close to call. And you hinted at it, Mr. Tapper. What happens if Trump outperforms the polls by just a mere point, something that in 2016 and 2020 he did more than that? Look at that. He gets the 312 electoral votes because he carries Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So at this particular hour,
Wait a minute. Wait. He said he outperformed the polls? Wait, did you catch that?
The electoral votes. But that is well within the margin of error, way too close to call. And you hinted at it, Mr. Tapper. What happens if Trump outperforms the polls by just a mere point, something that in 2016 and 2020 he did more than that? Look at that.
In 2020, he outperformed more than that. Did he just admit that Trump won in 2020? Like, accidentally? I don't know. Maybe. Roll it back. You guys tell me in the comments. I don't know. That's what I thought I heard.
He gets the 312 electoral votes because he carries Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So at this particular hour, this race is way too close to call. I have no clue who's going to win, Jake. Can Harris actually...
Well, looks like Jack Posobiec points out that NBC, that the, what's this woman's name again? I forget her name. She looks like she's going to cry, he says. Vice President Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead in our last poll taken a month ago, right after the debate. That lead has all but evaporated. Watch this.
Head-to-head matchup.
Kristen Welker is the moderator of Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning. Great to see you as always. I understand you all are going to roll out a new NBC News poll this morning. What jumped out at you as you sifted through it?
Well, Willie, the big headline, this is a national head-to-head poll, is that Vice President Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead in our last poll taken a month ago, right after the debate. That lead has all but evaporated, Willie. Take a look at this new head-to-head matchup, 48% to 48%. That is what we call a deadlocked race. It underscores what we all know, that this is tight, that the country is sharply divided. One of the other big headlines here, people are viewing the Trump presidency more favorably than the Biden presidency. Why is that significant? We've seen the vice president get pressed repeatedly on what she would do differently than President Biden, and she's really struggled with that answer. We have new reporting that will roll out on the show this morning, Willie, taking us inside the Harris campaign, where there are discussions about changing her answer on that. Can she draw a distinction on the Middle East, for example, on immigration, all under discussion with this razor-tight race? Willie?
And she continues to say, I am not Joe Biden, but you're right. She'll have to get more specific here down the stretch if she wants to win. Kristen, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that. Oh, they're freaking out. Here's another one. CNN's Enton GOP has made big gains in party registration. That's probably because Scott Pressler is relentless. Party registration identification since 2020. Let's listen to this.
And your voter registration.
So I'm Harry Enton here at the Magic Wall to dive into the numbers. All right, so Harry, tell us what you have found about how voters are leaning at this point compared to 2020.
And listen, guys, I loathe CNN. I really do. But like the reason I play this stuff is because I take joy in watching these guys like have to report this stuff. Like when their own polls that contradict their agenda, it's solid gold. So I'm like, let's watch it and kind of like kind of enjoy the moment, right? Okay, this one's a little longer, but let's watch.
Yeah, I mean the voter registration numbers. If you want a stat that Republicans absolutely love, it's this one. All right, Pennsylvania voter registration. You register by party in that state. You go back to November of 2020. You see Democrats 47%, Republicans 39%. That was an 8-point advantage. Look at where we are today. Yes, more voters in Pennsylvania are registered as Democrats than Republicans, but it's now just 44% to 40%. Now they've got a 4-point gap. Republicans, have cut that Democratic advantage in half. In such a short period of time. They have gone out. They have registered voters. There are folks that have come over to their side who were previously registered Democrats. The question is, where are they picking up ground, Manu? Where are they picking up ground? This, to me, says it all. All right, which Pennsylvania counties did the GOP gain in registration? If you look in counties where less than 50% of the population is non-college white voters, Republicans gain just a point. Where you have over 50% non-college whites, look at this. Republicans gain 6 points on average.
Wow.
They are picking up ground in the areas you would expect them to pick up ground, right? Those non-college white dominated areas, coal country in the Northeast, Southwest outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But the bottom line is the registration trends, the trends we've been seeing the last few cycles with Republicans dominating among non-college white voters, very much showing up in this party registration.
It's so interesting because David McCormick, who's the Senate candidate, the Republican Senate candidate, told me actually he believes that can actually propel him to victory because they're narrowing that margin with Democrats of voter registration. But what does this mean for Kamala Harris and her chances of victory in Pennsylvania?
All right, so all of this data, bad news for Democrats, right? Good news for Republicans. But there's one thing to keep in mind, right? You had that New York Times Siena College poll that came out yesterday that showed Kamala Harris slightly ahead, but within the margin of error. Why is that? Because take a look here. This is the Pennsylvania margin by party registration in that poll. What you see here is that Kamala Harris, I'm going to come over to your side of the screen, Manu, is doing better among Democrats, a 77-point lead, than Donald Trump is among Republicans, a 74-point advantage. She's also doing better with those who are not registered with a party or with another party. But this nugget is key because even though Republicans have closed that registration gap, they haven't closed it completely.
What, did they put Kamala Harris's face on the other? So, yeah. They could have put someone else's there. You see that subliminal little thing they did? They could have put like just a nondescript face there. But they make it appear that she's other up 13 points. How deceptive is that? Unreal. Let's continue.
Slightly ahead, but within the margin of error. Why is that? Because take a look here. This is the Pennsylvania margin by party registration in that poll. What you see here is that Kamala Harris, I'm going to come over to your side of the screen, Manu, is doing better among Democrats, a 77-point lead, than Donald Trump is among Republicans, a 74-point advantage. She's also doing better with those who are not registered with a party or with another party. But this nugget is key because even though Republicans have closed that registration gap, they haven't closed it completely. So the fact that Harris is doing slightly better among Democrats and Republicans, and there are more of them, that is what gives Democrats solace, is because at this particular point, that state, compared to, say, Arizona, slightly more favorable to Kamala Harris, at least in the polling data so far.
So what does this tell us? I mean, are we seeing this?
Okay, so we've got more to get to here. This is about the gender gap. Kornacki, gender gap favors Trump in new poll. Trump up 16 with men, Harris up 14 with women.
Of your vote for talk about issues. This is an interesting way. Typically in the past, we've just given folks a list of issues, said, are they important? Here we've asked a question, is this issue so singularly important that it's the entire basis of your vote for president? And you could see abortion comes in number one there.
And that's so significant. This is the first presidential election after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Hugely significant. Abortion is at the top. Usually we're talking about the cost of living as being the energizing factor.
Absolutely. And I think the Harris folks, if they're looking for good news in this poll, it's this, because this issue is her biggest advantage over Donald Trump. And you could see, as you say, potentially a motivating factor. And one more note here, just got to show this, the gender gap. We always talk about gender gaps in presidential races, but how about this? Trump by 16 among men, Harris 14 among women. That is a 30-point difference between those two. If that happens on election day, that's one for the history books. We've never seen it that high.
Yeah, an historic gender gap for sure. All right, Steve Kornacki.
Talk about.
They are in panic mode. Oh, and it's so bad. They don't even they can't even identify who Joe Biden is. Bill Clinton went to a McDonald's in Georgia while campaigning for Kamala Harris, and the cashier thought he was Joe Biden. Look at this. She's like, Mr. Joe? Mr. Joe? She thought it was Joe Biden. Oh, you know it's bad when they can't even identify. I wanted to bring this to your attention, too, because Kamala Harris, she went into a church, and not sure what she was doing there exactly, but she didn't burst into flames either. Listen to what she says. Listen to what she says.
We lose because what we see is so hard to see that we lose faith or a vision of those things we cannot see but must know.
I actually put that quote into ChatGPT because I'm like, what does ChatGPT have to say about this? And ChatGPT was like, nope, this is a classic word salad. I think, yeah, here it is. Yeah, this was my response. Even ChatGPT knows what she said was a mess. ChatGPT says, the statement from Kamala sounds like a classic example of her confusing word salads. It seems like she's trying to explain the difficulty in maintaining faith or belief in something abstract or unseen, but her choice of words turns it into a jumbled, repetitive mess. Instead of clearly saying it's hard to believe in things we can't see, we must try, she goes in circles, making it harder to understand than it needs to be. So even AI is calling out Kamala Harris for her word salads. And here is, now remember she went on that media tour trying to bump up her poll numbers. It turned out into a disaster. Well, here's what CNN had to say about that.
You had, she had a terrible week. It was a terrible week for the Harris this campaign. You had Gretchen Whitmer having to apologize to the Catholics across America for mocking them with some bizarro Dorito thing on there. You had Governor Elmer Fudd out hunting and not knowing how to load his shotgun, using the wrong gun. At the same time,
who's Governor Elmer Fudd?
Governor Walsh was out there. It looked like Elmer Fudd. Be very, very quiet while hunting for rabbits.
Oh my God.
Right? So he can't load his shotgun. He's trying to appeal to hunters. He can't load the gun. He's using the wrong gun. At the same time, you have Barack Obama in Pennsylvania where he derided people who own guns. Remember, people in Pennsylvania were bitter and they clinged to guns and religion. Remember that in 2008? So they're trying to appeal to those folks at the same time while he alienates black male voters by chastising them. So they had a really tough week this week.
Well, hold on. Okay, so first of all, Kamala Harris released her medical records. Trump hasn't. That was this week.
Oh, come on, dude. Oh, well, Kamala gave out her medical records. Trump still hasn't. We still haven't seen Biden's.
Let's talk about his week. Okay, he goes to Detroit and insults an entire city and insults a lot of black people there. His economic plan comes out, and by outside economic analysis, they said it would raise costs and raise debt on the American people. So Trump didn't really have a great week either. I think
that guy is stuttering. He is reaching. He is trying. He's trying so hard to counter that point, but he can't. Oh, it's beautiful to witness.
Times he goes out there. I'm sorry,
if your
guys.
Medical records, if that's the high point of your week, you're really grasping at
what
straws.
does he have to hide?
You're grasping
Second of
at straws.
You're grasping at straws. Does anyone? First of all,
what I just said.
Does anyone remember that Barack Obama said that in 2008? And two,
people in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah,
I promise you.
Barack
Obama
Obama won Pennsylvania in 2008 and 2012.
In 2012, he lost the state.
Let me get started.
Yeah.
I don't think, if I were in your party, with all due respect, I wouldn't want to be arguing about the hiding of medical conditions and medical records, given who the current president of the United States is.
What about your?
Ooh, yeah, you just got smoked, bro. You just got smoked on CNN. That was something else to witness. But of course, they're getting ready. 60 Minutes, the disgraced news outlet that got caught editing Kamala Harris's answers. They decided to bring on the former Pennsylvania governor, Tom Corbett, to respond to Trump's claim that Democrats rigged the 2020 election. And they're still talking about this. Why? Why are they still bringing this up on 60 Minutes? It's because we're weeks away from an election. And they want to plant that seed. Listen.
Many times.
The former president has a refrain at his rallies. He says Democrats rigged the election in 2020, and he's not going to let them get away with it this year.
Evidence. Bring it. Any U.S. attorney, any district attorney, bring the evidence and show them. Not what you want. You've got to convince a prosecutor and a court.
Well, when you can't bring the evidence to the court and the court doesn't even allow it, when the judge won't even allow the evidence, how are you supposed to have a trial? And that's what happened in all those cases. They threw out the cases before they even got to trial. Evidence was never permitted, so it had to be tried in the court of public opinion. But yet they're still pushing this narrative every minute. Donald Trump Bringing it up on Truth Social, he says it's important that Kamala Harris pass a test on cognitive stamina and agility. Her actions have led many to believe there could be something very wrong with her. Even 60 Minutes and CBS, in order to protect lying Kamala, illegally and unscrupulously replaced an answer she had given, which was totally bonkers, with another answer she had nothing to do with the question asked. Also, she's slow and lethargic in answering even the easiest questions. We just went through almost 4 years of that. We don't have to do it again. Well, she's slow and lethargic because there's nothing upstairs. And of course, this just came out. This is from MSNBC. Former CIA director John Brennan. He's freaking out. This guy's been, of course, at the probably orchestrating a lot of the attacks on Trump. At least one of the main players. As you can see, he's one of the 51 former intelligence officials that claim Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Of course, we know that not to be true. And here he says it'd be a dangerous situation if Trump gets back into the Oval Office. Well, I argue the only danger is to enemies of this country, people who orchestrate falsehoods.
Again, what signal does it send you that extraordinary list, Alyssa Farah Griffin ticked through, is saying this man is a threat to our national security?
Well, it should be a warning call to the American public in terms of what dangers we might face if Donald Trump is elected president. Clearly, people like John Kelly, Jim Mattis, John Bolton, Secretary Esper, and others, all these individuals with many, many years of experience on the national security front, did see up close and personal just how dangerous and irresponsible Donald Trump was. And so that's why, again, I find it unsurprising that we have so many of these individuals who have dedicated their lives and have a great sacrifice to protect the interests of this country are coming out very publicly and saying what a danger Donald Trump is. And I still find it so surreal that not more Americans are listening to what is clearly going to be a very much a dangerous situation if Donald Trump gets back into the Oval Office.
Well, you know why Americans aren't listening? Because we've tuned you guys out. You've lost all credibility. And that's your fault. That's your fault. And the good news is here, Tim Pool posted this. He says, no one has any idea what is happening. A new Gallup poll has Republicans with a 3-point edge nationally. That could lead to a Trump 3+ national popular vote. Here's what that might look like if it pans out. Maine, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Michigan, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Trump win margin. That is extraordinary. And here you have the picture right there, projected. Donald Trump with 329 electoral votes to Kamala Harris, 209. If you ask me, that's a landslide, folks. Media is in total panic mode. 100%. Peachy Keenan did a nice little roundup of the of the headlines. Look at these headlines. Okay, this is Mark Beinhoff. Despite multiple requests, time has not been granted an interview with Kamala Harris. Unlike every other presidential candidate, we believe in transparency and publish each interview in full. Why isn't the vice president engaging with the public on the same level? So she'll do an interview with Vogue, but she won't do one with Time. Here's another headline. Why is Trump gaining with black and Hispanic voters? Panic setting in. CNN investigates how critics say Kamala Harris has flip-flopped. Harris struggles to win over Latinos while Trump holds his grip, poll shows. 23 days to go. Women will have to save us, says Joe Klein. And this looks like it's from the article. Even if blacks and browns are slipping a bit toward, this sounds so racist, but if blacks and browns are slipping a bit towards the Republican Party and the show business antics of Donald Trump, they are called minorities for a reason. There aren't very many of them. There are more Latinos than blacks, though you'd never know it from the news coverage, which is obsessed with black grievance. Oh, that sounds pretty damn racist. Barack Obama's tiresome condescension toward black men. The most disappointing part about Kamala Harris' media blitz. Ezra Klein says, ignore the polls. They're panicking, folks. They know what's going on. They know what's coming next. So the surge in Trump polling isn't just a statistical blip. It's a referendum on the failed policies of the current administration. Americans are waking up and remembering what true leadership looks like. But here's what I want to know from you. What's driving this Trump surge? Is it his policies, his personalities, or simply a rejection of the status quo? Share your thoughts in the comments because your insight could help us understand the pulse of the nation as we get closer to this crucial election. All right, guys, we got to spend a little minute here with you guys because we got to get to the next topic. Stick around, please do. Don't leave. We've got this amazing scandal that's just breaking now with Kamala Harris and her plagiarism scandal, Christopher Rufo. We're gonna dive all the way through and get reactions. So I don't want you to leave. You need to stay. This is very important stuff. Okay, so we've got I voted before and I'm voting for him this time. When is the Trump Rogan podcast? I don't know. I can't wait for it. Democrats are the real oppressors of democracy. Ain't that the truth? The crater is going to be huge by the time election day is here. Idaho for Trump. Don't vote for Commie Cammy. Okay. All right, let's jump right into it because I know you guys are waiting for this, so let's go. Are you there, Brian? Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your dictionaries because we're about to dive into a literary scandal that would make even Joe Biden blush. Kamala Harris, the woman who wants to lead the free world, well, she's been caught with her hand in the cookie jar, or should I say, with her cursor on the copy button. Her book, ironically titled Smart on Crime, turns out to be not so smart after all. We're talking whole passages lifted directly from Wikipedia, my friends. And tonight, we're going to show you just how deep this plagiarism rabbit hole goes. You know, folks, in these crazy times, it's more important than ever to stay alert and protected on the road, and that's where Car Vision X comes in. This is not just any dash cam, it's your personal road guardian with 4K Ultra HD night vision, 24/7 motion detection. It captures every detail, keeping you safe from false accusations and providing crucial evidence when you need it most. Recent reports show drivers with dash cams are 60% less likely to be found at fault in traffic accidents. That's peace of mind you can't put a price on. Visit carvisionx.com, link below, and get your free shipping on your order. Don't hit the road without it. We thank our sponsors for keeping this show going, and we thank you for your donations. Okay, so we've got Christopher Rufo with a bombshell that is ripping another hole in the Kamala Harris campaign. Of course, we covered Touchdown Timmy. That scandal is also raging. And now this. Kamala Harris plagiarized at least a dozen sections of her criminal justice book, Smart on Crime, according to a new investigation. The current vice president even lifted material from Wikipedia, and he has the receipts. We're going to get to that in a second. Of course, the New York Times is stating this is not plagiarism, though. He reports, presumably because Kamala Harris added the word additional. We're also learning that Fox News is going to be hosting Kamala Harris, Brett Baer, confirming that there were no preconditions for securing the interview with Kamala Harris. Will she be asked about this? Will she be asked about plagiarism? Will she be asked about the Touchdown Timmy scandal? We don't know. We can hope so. Harris will not have the questions ahead of time, no topics off the table. No topic off the table. Minimal editing for timing, and will be editorially the same question and answer. Editorially. Well, we hope it's not. We hope they don't edit like they did with the CBS or 60 Minutes, right? The Harris campaign is seriously miscalculating. This new Trump isn't doing media narrative. They have Kamala Harris spewing will backfire. Trump has done all the biggest mainstream podcasts in the world. People will see this as a straight lie. Drew Hernandez pointing that out. Yeah, they're trying to say that Donald Trump doesn't do media. Donald Trump goes unscripted everywhere. Kamala Harris can't survive a town hall without a teleprompter. Okay? Before we get into the recent allegations, let's hear this new line of attack from Kamala Harris.
This man is dangerous. Not to mention Roland. Let's fast forward to right now. His staff won't let him do a 60 Minutes interview.
Because they're going to edit it, Kamala.
Every president for the last half century has done one. Anyone who's running for president.
Okay, Kamala, listen. He's gone on 60 Minutes before, and he has been disrespected. He's been told he's a liar. He throws out straight facts, and he gets sidelined, cancels the interview. Why go back into those places? Why give them any airtime? You go on because you know they're gonna softball you and they're gonna edit your answers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt this. Let's continue.
One has done it, except Donald Trump. He will not debate me again. I put out my medical records. He won't put out his medical records.
Oh, give me a break.
And you have to ask, why is his staff doing that? And it may be because they think he's just not ready. This man is dangerous.
He's not ready. He's already been president, honey. He's not ready. Yeah. This line that she's putting out is straight pathetic. Kamala Harris doing a Fox interview with Bret Baier. Desperation is setting in. This is from Sean Farash. He does the Trump impersonation, like the best Trump impersonation in the world. Kamala's doing Fox News with Bret. Desperation setting in. Bret Baier better do his job and not roll over. But this is Fox News, so don't expect big things. New York Post covering the plagiarism scandal that's now striking. It's just 5 hours ago. Kamala Harris accused of plagiarism in co-authored 2009 book. Breaking news. So-called intelligent liberal Darling running for president has been caught red-handed plagiarizing huge chunks of her book. The media won't talk about it, but we will. So shall we? Let's dive in to the thread from Christopher Rufo. The investigation was conducted by Dr. Stefan Weber, a famed Austrian plagiarism hunter who's taken down politicians in the German-speaking world. We independently confirmed multiple violations, which are comparable in severity to the plagiarism found in the former Harvard President Claudine Gay's doctoral thesis. Plagiarism hunter terrorizing the German-speaking world. This is from the New York Times. Summary of findings. Plagiarism in the book Smart on Crime. Kamala Harris copied virtually an entire Wikipedia article into her book without providing any attribution. Kamala Harris fabricated a source reference, inventing a non-existent page number. The self-promotional content from Goodwill Industries was copied verbatim without citing the source. Goodwill Industries was her primary partner on the Back on Track program. In many other instances, even when a source was cited with a footnote, the text was directly copied and pasted without using quotation marks. Quotation marks would have been the most transparent and honest approach also in non-academic books. Further signs of dishonesty may be evident when sources were copied, but specific details were altered, such as replacing a Subway store owner with a sandwich shop clerk, or highlighting Southeast Asia in the context of the U.S. gang problem. That is part one. We can begin with a passage in which Harris discusses high school graduation rates. Here she lifted verbatim language from an uncited AP NBC News report. So you can see the language highlighted from the Associated Press, and you can see what Kamala Harris wrote. On the right, AP. On the left, Kamala Harris. So that's one passage. About 75% of U.S. I mean, this is copy-paste, rearrange the text, clearly. In another section of the book, Harris, without proper attribution, reproduced extensive sections from John Jay College criminal justice press release. She and her co-author passed off the language as their own, copying multiple paragraphs verbatim. So they're taking full press releases and passing it off as their own. Unreal. Here are the receipts, folks. In a section about New York court programs, Harris stole long passages directly from Wikipedia, long considered an unreliable source. She not only assumes the online encyclopedia's accuracy, but copies its language nearly verbatim without citing the source. Here it is. Look at that. Compare and contrast Wikipedia, Kamala Harris. Look at that. Almost exactly word for word, with the exception of the word in order right there. Harris also copied language from the Bureau of Justice Assistance report, which was linked in the Wikipedia entry. So they're on Wikipedia copying basically. Oh, look at this footnote. Let's follow it. Oh, let's copy that too. That's good. Let's add it to the book. Linked here is the passage in Harris's book with duplicated material in the other column. So here you go. Kamala Harris on the left, Bureau of Justice Assistance on the right. There you go. Almost verbatim. Shameful. Finally, when attempting to write a description of nonprofit group, Harris simply lifted promotional language from an Urban Institute report and failed to cite her source. There you go. Read the full story about Kamala Harris's plagiarism exclusively at his newsletter, which I'm happily a subscriber of. And you can also support Christopher Rufo in his investigations into DEI, plagiarism, higher education, and migrant crisis as a paid subscriber. ChristopherRufo.com. I encourage you to do so. Christopher Rufo is one of the best out there, and I truly respect his work because he brings hardcore truth and exposes a lot and makes it happen. And here's what's interesting. He also posted this after his story dropped. He said, and he was mocking the New York Times. Christopher Rufo was. He said, somebody hang this in the Louvre. The New York Times claims that I seized upon Kamala Harris' serial plagiarism, admits later in the story that it is in fact plagiarism, and then calls noticing that fact racist. So basically, he points out academic plagiarism, and then they call it racist. I mean, when are they going to stop? I mean, really? Okay, this is what the New York Times posted here. Conservative activist seizes on passages from Harris' book. A report by Christopher Rufo says the Democrat presidential nominee copied 5 short passages for her 2009 book on crime. A plagiarism expert said the lapses weren't serious. They weren't serious. They were short. No big deal. The 5 passages Mr. Rufo cited appear to have been taken partly from other published works without quotation marks. Some academics, however, have characterized the campaign as racist. How? How is it racist? It's words on a page. Here's one side, here's the other. I fail to see the race. Can you show me on the highlighted words where the racism is, please? And of course, I said the New York Post is diving into this. Let's see what they had to say. New York Post, criminal Kamala Harris accused of plagiarism and co-authored 2009 book. So this is gaining steam. It is going to continue to gain steam, though. Vice President Kamala Harris is facing allegations of plagiarism after numerous passages from the Democrat presidential nominee's book Smart on Crime were discovered, or to closely resemble or perfectly match wording from other sources. She wrote the book promoting reform-minded approach to prosecuting crimes, alongside ghostwriter Joan Hamilton, who told the Post when contacted that she was surprised to learn about the alleged copying. Rufo published the allegations Monday and credited an investigation by Australian plagiarism hunter. Rufo posted screenshots on X of 5 examples. And of course, we just showed them for you here. So this is one scandal that's not going to go away. I'm sure she'll be asked about it. Hopefully she'll be asked about it in that Fox News interview. Not holding my breath, though. But you've got the Touchdown Timmy scandal. You got now this plagiarism scandal. I mean, didn't Joe Biden stop his campaign one of his campaigns many, many years ago because of the plagiarism? I mean, of course, Kamala, they're going to ignore this. They're not going to respond. They're going to, it's just deny or obfuscate or project or call it racist, right? That's what they're going to do. So it's up to us to hold them accountable. It's up to you to hold them accountable. Tell your friends. Okay? We got Touchdown Timmy. We got plagiarism, Kamala. Remember, it's not just about a few borrowed phrases. It's about integrity or the lack thereof. I mean, if she's willing to cut corners and take credit for others' work in a book, what else is she willing to do? So here's my question. Does this revelation change your view of Kamala Harris as a potential leader? More importantly, what does it say about the state of our political system? Share your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters in this crucial debate. All right, let's get to what you guys are saying here. Freebird Flies. I need to talk to you. Got some information. It'll blow your mind. Is there a personal way I can get a hold of you without anybody knowing what I'm going to say because it's crazy? Well, you can email me. You can certainly do that. That would be the first step. I'm not going to be taking phone calls. I don't take random phone calls from people. So if you want to send an email, go ahead and do that. The number or the email to contact me is gary@nextnewsnetwork.com. Very simple. My first name @nextnewsnetwork.com. Send me what you got, and I will reply. Okay. Freebird Flies. Okay, I appreciate that. Accountability needs to happen in this administration for destroying Americans. Timmy really likes those. Ooh. Every time I see Kamala talking, I think it's an SNL skit. SNL actually roasted her this weekend. That was pretty funny, actually. I saw some of the clips. It was great. Yeah, she's done. When SNL gets the green light to start attacking her, it's bad news. What's up, Rattler from Arkansas? Good to see you here. Salty Nationalist in the house. Scroll up in the Rumble feed for my super. Oh, you hit it. Oh, we got a super rant. Yeah. Let's see that super rant. Here it is. It is. Remember, folks, smash the like button, share and show, and some love. Thank you, Salty Nationalist. I appreciate that 5 spot. It'll buy about a gallon of gas, maybe, if I'm lucky. Right? I appreciate it. Every penny helps keep this operation going. You gave that 25 minutes ago. Sorry, I've been rambling here. I hope you're right about Trump winning. Stuff scaring me sometimes, says 50 BMG or nothing. Yeah. Well, listen, the polls are one thing, but you got to remember that we can't just rely on the polls. We have to, we just have to get out and vote. Don't rely on the polls. The polls will make you feel good for a minute, give you some good news to talk about because it is good news what we're seeing. I mean, I just have flashbacks to, what was it, the midterms? Red wave coming, right? We kept talking about the red wave. Everyone's talking about the red wave, and then boom, we got smacked in the face by a blue wave. Remember that? It was horrible. So I bring up the polls for a reason because and with everything we're talking about, we got to have some good news, But remember, it's not just the polls, it's you. You're the one that makes the difference. Vote, vote, vote is right, says Jeff. Vote, vote, vote. Who said go Gary? SE311. What's up? He needs gas for his taxi, says Rattler. Okay, we've got they didn't President Trump in the voter's guide. They didn't put him in the voter's guide in Oregon. I heard about that. The excuse that was made was that he didn't pay to be in the voter guide. It's like some kind of commercial thing they do to raise money for whatever it is for their state. Franchi, we know you. One of the best. Keep going. Thank you, Wilson. Thank you. Please tell your friends about me. Post about me. Post my name out there. Get it out there. Let people see what we're doing here. I'm doing it to save America because this country is worth saving. It's the last free place on earth. Let's take a look at some of the latest news that's coming in right now. I do want to take a look. Kamala Harris endorses Geraldo Rivera just endorsed Kamala Harris. Wow. A Hanson resident fined for a Trump sign projection, but they won't fine. Brian, can we get the triple box up here? They won't fine these radical left-wing people for putting nasty messages on Trump's buildings. They do it all the time. Brian, are you there? I can't see it. Brian? Can we get the triple box up so everyone can see the feed? The raw feed? Is Brian... Do we lose Brian? Okay, there he is. All right. What are you playing, Fortnite again? Come on, dude. We got a show to run. Kamala Harris proposes financial aid for black entrepreneurs. Diddy facing lawsuits. This is all trending right now on X. Geraldo Rivera endorsing Kamala. And Kamala Harris. Plagiarism allegation. The Harris-Fox interview is something that we just talked about. What questions should Brett Baier ask? He should ask about Touchdown Timmy, and he should also ask about plagiarism right out the gate. Helene Milton FEMA aid. FEMA assistance is available for those who've been impacted by Hurricane Milton and Helene. You can call 800-622-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov if you want to get denied. Let's see. Do we type in what was it? Touchdown Timmy. It's Timmy. Okay, here we go. The 1st October surprise. Picking up on the latest. Still can't believe my post hit like 3.5 million. Okay, just scrolling through the latest post here. Touchdown Timmy, the student has gone public. He's in deep trouble. This was 4 minutes ago. And it looks like, oh, look at it. Here's some of our feed. This is our stream is latest here. That's pretty cool. Black insurrectionist people reposting about Tim Walz's so-called resignation. Oh, look, we're showing up in like all the feeds for Touchdown Timmy. Ew, this is creepy. Look away. Let's see. Is there any more? Let's just check on. Let's just go right to the account that started all this. See if we can get something. Here it is. Black insurrectionist. All right. Looks like he's gone quiet for the last 11 hours. So nothing since our reporting today. But these are all the receipts that he brought. I encourage you to go directly to his feed and check out. It's not just the posts that are important, but it's also some of his responses that carry a lot of weight. Because people are like accusing him of this, and they're saying, "Well, the cursor is weird," or like they're trying to nitpick the evidence that he's presenting. And okay, sure, but it's like, why? Why are you going to try to nitpick? How about we try to nitpick the truth about the allegations first? Why don't we get to the source of the allegations? Like the one user was doing by issuing FOIAs to these entities to get the actual hard evidence. Why don't we get the accused, the victim, to come forward and speak? Right? That's why I contacted Harmeet Dillon, so we could get answers. So I knew, and I could translate that information to black insurrectionists to say, listen, I spoke to Harmeet, I messaged her, and she said she would provide safe harbor. And he said, great. I said, you let me know. I have her number. She also gave me her email, etc. So while people want to nitpick cursors and whatever, I think it's more important to get down to the truth. Yeah, so continuing, so there's nothing lately here, but let's check on the is this different now? Like, why is it my trending? This is different for you. I just want to see my feed. Ah, yes, here we go. President Trump arriving in Pennsylvania. Is real Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan? That's the word on the wire. Newsweek posting this story. Let's just check it real quick. Trump has indicated he is planning to go on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was on with the Nelk Boys and asked by one of the hosts if he's going on the show. Oh, sure I would, before adding, I think I'm doing it actually. So you're going to do it? He said, yes, I am. Okay, so that's what we know. He's going on Joe Rogan. Buckle up, folks. The internet's going to get broke. I'm not sure about this. Why do I care if someone's spreading a false story about that other Trump supporters may spread? Potentially Trump may spread hurt chances of winning. Again, your question is why I would care about someone lying to Stephen Mines. Okay, so Maze Moore is calling DocNet YouTube a liar and a grifter. I've never seen anything Doc post turned out to be fake. Okay. So Maze Moore, I follow this guy. This is interesting. Why would I care that someone is lying and deceiving my friends? All you gotta do is ask me to follow you back. I do my best to respond to my followers. I think most of them agree with that. What? Glad you and Doc are great friends. I don't understand. What's the problem here? Like, it's just these guys are just. It's just too many egos on X, and everyone's like, I got more followers than you. Like, okay. Maze Moore is calling DocNet YouTube a liar and a grifter. I know you don't care about someone with 16,000 followers. You never followed me back or responded to me in any way. On the other hand, I've had long conversations with Doc privately after he followed me back when I had about 3,000. I'm Team Doc 100%. If you're making us choose, the real question is, why does Maze even care? If Doc is lying, we'll all know soon enough. Why insert your opinion or try to call him out? Are you generally trying to protect us? What's your motive? I don't expect a response. That was awesome. John Worthington, you just got a follow from me, bro. And we're going to turn on all posts and replies because you deserve it. Right on, John. And I'm going to reply to this guy. You deserve a follow for that, my friend. Boom. Send now. But I know I follow Maze too, right? I think I do. I'm sure I do. Yeah, I follow him. I follow DocNet. Yeah, just drama, man. Just people stirring up drama all the time. Okay, folks, we've been on the air for about 3 hours now. Got more work to do. So it's been quite a journey tonight, right? We've peeled back the layers of corruption and deceit and manipulation the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. So let's recap what we have covered. Then we exposed the unraveling of the so-called assassination attempt on President Trump, the third one, right? What looked like a threat turned out to be nothing more than smoke and mirrors, possibly to set up and smear Trump supporters. It's a reminder that we can't take anything at face value in this political climate. And we shined a light on the migrant crime wave sweeping through Chicago, where the Tren de Aragua gang is running rampant while city leaders twirl their thumbs. It's a grim preview of what could happen nationwide if we don't secure our borders. And of course, we are seeing it nationwide in cities like Aurora and Ohio. On a brighter note, we broke down the latest polls showing President Trump surging ahead. The silent majority is speaking up, and the message is clear. America is ready for real leadership again. Let's not forget Kamala Harris' literary fiasco. Her book, Smart on Crime, turns out to be anything but, with whole passages lifted straight from Wikipedia. It's a damning indictment of her integrity and fitness for office. Now, here's the thing, patriots. We are one of the few voices out there brave enough to bring you these truths, but we cannot do it alone. We need your support right now to keep the show on the air, to keep digging for the stories they don't want you to hear. If you value what we do, please consider making a donation. You will find the links in the description. And don't forget, we are still demonetized and on the brink. And you could be the deciding factor, your dollar. And of course, don't forget to share the show with your friends and family. The more people who know the truth, the harder it becomes for them to silence us. Together, you and me, we can make a difference. We can reclaim our country from the corrupt elites who think they can pull the wool over our eyes. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember the truth is out there, and we are going to keep finding it no matter what. Good night.